Today, I'm going to talk about the best and the worst horror films that came out in 2025. Before you hit the comment section, there are certain movies I'm physically not able to see yet, like Black Phone, like Frankenstein, and then there's movies I just didn't get around to, like VHS Halloween, The Ritual, and The Home. Seems like I kind of dodged a bullet with a couple of those. Him, which I've given a 3 out of 10. Wow, this movie. This is just a cringy disaster. Everyone was so excited for this movie. 1, because a lot of people thought it was directed by Jordan Peele. 2, the idea of a sports horror film was very exciting for a lot of people, including myself. It tried to be 5 movies at once, so it could never really lock in on any of its themes. The dialogue is super cheesy and forced and obvious. The lead actor I do not think is very charismatic, and he really needs to be for that role. The characters are weak. The more you watch it, the kind of sillier it gets, but it thinks it's being really edgy and really profound. It's simply not. Hyperactive, riddling, snorting editing. This is practically a montage. This is a commercial. This does not feel like a narrative, and it really thinks it is, which is the sad part. Next up is Drop. If the movie Carry On is Brain Rot's Die Hard, then this is like a syphilitic moron's grand piano or phone booth. Horrible dialogue, the villain reveal is really stupid, and there are so many moments in this movie where someone has the drop on someone when they can kill them easily, and they just don't. They just kind of hang around. I haven't seen this particular plot in a restaurant, so I guess that's sort of new, but I don't think they really took enough advantage of it. The ending just gets so absurd. When people are running through a house, they're knocking over furniture, and someone's trying to kill the other. We see it all the time in horror movies, but this is one of the most poorly done I've ever watched. It's awful. At best, it's good for the background, but I'm not going to give a background movie a good rating. This is a 4 out of 10. Next is Ash. Yes, there is some action, some gore, and some very colorful visuals, but I don't think a lot of the visuals are very well rendered. They don't look like the characters and the visuals belong in the same environment. Some of it just feels very random. The lead actress looks like she's constantly posing for a magazine cover in every shot. I was gonna give it a little bit higher because there is some fun music, and occasionally there is kind of an engaging visual. It's so boring. I gotta stick with my guns and give this a 4.
Who are you? What the fuck?
Next is Opus. It's like someone hacked off the limbs of all these different animals and then tried to sew them back together to make a new creature. And it just waddles around, and you really kind of want to put it out of its misery. All it does is remind you of other films and all the different ways Opus tries to be clever or tries to be shocking. It's so done to death, and it's so cringeworthy to an extent. I can't pronounce her name very well, but the lead actress, I'm sorry, I don't see why she has such a stellar reputation, because in every single role I've seen her in, and to be fair, I've only seen a few episodes of The Bear, her expression is this permanent mix of awkward and slightly constipated. In Opus, it is measurably worse. The story centers around this disco legend, and I don't think the songs are that good. John Malkovich, sure, he's having fun, but there's a limit to how much I can enjoy a movie just because a millionaire is having fun in front of a camera. That's not enough here. I will give it some props for some moments of interesting cinematography, of color contrast. Other than that, yeah, this one's a snoozer. Hard Eyes. I was disappointed in this one. I heard some really good things. It's really kind of stupid. Probably like the first 15 minutes of dialogue is some of the worst I've heard all year. You have some very campy performances that I don't think help the dialogue at all. The different ways that characters interact with each other, it doesn't feel like I'm watching people have conversations. It feels like I'm watching an ad or something. It's so kind of stilted. There's a dinner date scene that has some interesting dialogue. It makes you hate the female character. In fact, a lot of the film makes you hate the female lead, and I'm not sure why the male character is so doe-eyed for her, but that's a separate thing. I like the villain mask. I like the fact that they're using a bow, tying in with the Cupid theme. I mean, yeah, it's a little obvious, but I thought that was kind of cute. But Jesus Christ, I mean, yeah, the blood is there, but it's not like the actual slasher scenes are very interesting or innovative or even that fun. I think what a lot of people are kind of missing when they talk about this film is that like 80% of this is dialogue. The cherry on top of this crap sundae is that the villain reveal is so stupid. That's where the bad acting really rears its ugly head. I like the concept, but I think a better screenwriter and definitely some better actors should have been attached to this. The long walk, more like the long talk, am I right? Jeez. I think my problem with this is that it feels very much like a play. It has that kind of almost folksy, outdated dialogue. I don't know, it's very awkward. I found the dialogue extremely awkward. It's not natural. The actors are trying. I think the two lead actors do a really good job. I got attached to these characters not because of the dialogue, but in spite of it. Mark Hamill is fucking atrocious in this movie. It's so over the top and it does not fit the movie. It's like he's about to walk into a wrestling ring. It's so fucking bad. I was surprised at how gory the film is, but I could not stand the dialogue in this. It's just cheesy. So, yeah. I'll go with positives first. Final Destination Bloodlines moves fairly quick. There's one MRI death scene that's really good. It's definitely the highlight of the film. That's about it. I was mildly engaged throughout, which is the stereotypical 5 out of 10. My biggest issues with it is, one, this is so synthetic looking. Everything just looks so fake. Again, the MRI sequence is fantastic, but a lot of the other ones, and especially the nostalgia bit at the end, it looks like a PS3 game or something. The lore attached to this is a mess. I found the main character extremely obnoxious. Hey, we're gonna rejuvenate this franchise, and you're just gonna coast? I think we're so desperate for the good old times that we're giving pretty mediocre movies more praise than they deserve. My opinion. People don't hate me before, they're gonna hate me now. Yeah, Megan 2.0 is not very good. In fact, I'm willing to say the first one was better. It's frustrating because it starts out really good. The adult actors are better. They're not great, but they're better. It's easy to get engaged with the plot. The problem is, again, the script. It's a fucking mess. Take a shot every single time there's a bad monologue in this, you'll be in the hospital halfway through. The film has zero idea how to deliver exposition, how to move a plot forward, how to make characters have their arcs. No, they just sit down and have a monologue, or they're standing in front of each other and have a monologue. Oh, the building's blowing up? Let's have a monologue. Some of Megan's lines are especially cringeworthy. Even Arnold Schwarzenegger would look at that and go, I'm not reading that. It's not terrible. Like I said, I really liked the first act of this. I think the pivot to action was a smart idea, but it just gets more messy as it goes.
Did you ever stop to think about what we could have achieved together? Did you ever consider the idea that killing me was slightly disproportionate to the crime?
You threatened to rip out my tongue and put me in a wheelchair.
I was upset.
All right, next is 28 years later. Yeah, oh boy. On a rewatch, this was worse. There's so many just baffling decisions. The random zooms, a lot of the cuts are unmotivated. I don't care about the mother character, and I really doubt that a lot of people do. You can't build up this father character and then just abandon him and then ask us to suddenly care for this other character that we barely know. The only thing we've seen about her up to that point is her writhing around in bed. I don't give a shit. I hate the music choices in this. It's so poorly paced. It's also sequel bait. It feels like a first act and a second act and then just ends with one of the worst finales I think I've ever seen in the film. I don't care about the long paragraphs describing what it meant or what led up to it. No, it's a fucking farce. It's like the film just cut the legs out from under you and then like spat on your face, dumped on your chest, and went, thanks for the $20. It's a 5. I didn't completely hate it. I think the production design is good. Ray Fiennes does a good job. I really do appreciate the buildup of the father-son relationship. I don't know. It's like they're sabotaging their own film. I don't think you're big brain for liking this film. I think it's a sloppy mess. I'm liking this film less the more I think about it.
3!
Okay, now we're in the 6s. First is The Ugly Stepsister. There are parts of this movie where I was bored, and there's parts of this movie where I wanted to throw up. But I can't deny that this is a good looking film. The makeup was grotesquely impressive. I did want to see what happened to the main character. More than anything, I kind of just wanted to see how far they're going to take the body horror in this film. And yeah, they take it they take it somewhere. This is really poorly done from a music standpoint. It's like they chose the worst song for every single one of these scenes, and it was kind of giving me a headache. God, this is so borderline 5 to 6, but I'm gonna give this 6 because I do think on its technical aspects it is well crafted, and I was engaged enough to watch it till the end. Next is Dangerous Animals. This was an interesting watch. There are things in this movie that are much better than I was expecting. The film is pretty well shot. Jai Courtney does a good job. I really like the gore. Also, and this doesn't affect the rating at all, awesome poster. However, especially in the second and third act, it gets very repetitive. The boyfriend character, I think, was born without a brainstem. I hate horror movies where a character should call the cops but doesn't. That drives me crazy. All the dialogue feels like Wikipedia entries about sharks. Also, the intro is awful. I was entertained and then frustrated and then entertained and then horrified, and then it just kept kind of losing me and winning me back. The Conjuring Last Rites. There's stuff in this movie I actually like. The casting for the two younger versions of the leads was spot on, and the actress did a really good job. There's some creative lighting, costume design, and production design. There's a short scene with a telephone cord that's really fun, and there's another really nice bit with mirrors. I also like the scenes with the son-in-law and father-in-law. The story was actually building up their relationship in a natural way. A lot of people describe this movie as a total loss, and I don't agree. I actually like this better than the third film. The issues are, it's not scary at all. It still bugs the hell out of me that the Warrens keep these cursed objects on display. That's like running a garbage disposal 24/7 and putting a layer of saran wrap over it. And the runtime is just ridiculous. By the time you get to like this big, loud third act, it's hard to care because you've seen it all before, and the journey to get there was so dragged out. I give this 6 out of 10. That runtime, man, that's a killer.
You okay down there, Brenda? Ow.
Strangers Chapter 2. This one's really interesting because I have not seen Strangers Chapter 1, but I was surprised at how much I liked this at first. They stripped things down to pure survival rather than like clumsy spook house moments. It was funny because I watched this right after Heart Eyes, and the dialogue in Heart Eyes felt like I was being Dutch ovened for an hour. Here, again, for the first half, I just felt, oh, this is nice. Vivid use of color, the long takes are impressive. There's a good sense of seeing geometry and how characters are placed. I like the lead character. She's not some indestructible girl boss, but she's a fighter. She's got moxie. Problem is that after that halfway point, this thing kind of falls apart. Once it went out into the woods, all of those attributes kind of died away. It instantly became less tense, less scary. It's just less interesting. And then we have this scene at the campfire, which tried so hard to be the bear sequence from The Revenant. It made no sense. I don't know why it's in the film. The CGI is shit. It was so baffling why that was in the film. Like, someone just showed up and was like, you know what we should do? And don't you just hate when people run into the room saying that? I think the best way to say this is that this was a very impressive, focused slasher film for that first half that I really enjoyed. And in the second half, it became like a student film. Next is Until Dawn. This is another one that people really despise, and before you get mad at me for not giving it like a 2 out of 10, I get why. So I have not played the original game. Is a movie bad because it deviates so much from its original content? From what I've heard, this is so divorced from the game's story, its themes, and even the entire gimmick. The instant reaction is, why the hell would you call this thing Until Dawn when it essentially has nothing to do with Until Dawn. But then you also have to think about something, right? No one wants to make original movies these days. Like, some people do, some people have the clout to where they're able to, but it is a much safer bet, and sometimes the only possible way to get your creative, crazy idea made is if it's attached to a franchise in some way. If you allow me, I would like to judge this movie purely on its own merits, not related to the game. And on those merits, it's not bad. One nice thing about the time loop is that the characters have to deal with different threats each time, and a lot of these threats are really interesting. I don't think I've ever seen a film where drinking water would make you spontaneously combust. A lot of fun moments with that. There's even a montage in this movie that I fucking love. Also, the actors are pretty good. I think this maybe could have been filmed a little bit better. I think the color correction's a bit too heavy. Oh, and the music is awful. What is with horror movies and bad music this year? Like, this is one of the worst. I fully understand the frustration from fans of the video game. I get it. And as someone who never played the game, I think this works pretty well as like a late night rental. I do.
What's that? What the fuck? What the fuck is that?
Is that a person?
Good boy. Great concept. Amazing dog. That thing is so well trained. And some very impressive cinematography. I don't think the concept really all came together into a satisfying story. The dog's the best actor in the movie. There's a sister character on the phone, pretty terrible voice acting from her. As far as like the actual horror moments, that's probably the worst aspect of this. I really hope you guys like watching a shadow cross in front of the camera, because they do that about 20 times. There's some ominous cinematography, good use of darkness. I really like how much rain is in the film. I think it's worth watching for the concept alone. Very excited to see what this filmmaker does next, because I think he's talented. You can see the talent on the camera. Next is Hallow Road. I saw this last night. Someone recommended it to me on my channel. This is probably the most frustrating one today, and I'll tell you why. This was excellent for the first half. I was entranced by this. A lot of people will compare this to Locke. Almost the entire film takes place in a car. All you need to know is that a girl has run away and her parents are calling her and driving to her location. Great dialogue, very natural progression of stress. Rosamund Pike is fantastic. She's probably the best part of this movie. The plot itself, the situations themselves were so engaging and at points even frightening. Then, halfway through, a fourth person shows up and the film immediately trips on the banana and goes face first in the mud. It is insane how fast this movie gets lost, how fast this movie becomes bad. And it's all because of this woman and how the plot changes when she shows up. Her lines are cheesy. Her delivery of the lines is terrible. The audio mixing on her is bad. It sounds like she's reading like a bedtime story, and it's supposed to make it creepy, but it doesn't, because the intensity and the fear is based on the fact that it feels real. It's practically in real time. Everything is just so intense and dramatic and tastefully done. And then when this fourth person arrives, it becomes so boring and so cheesy and so poorly acted. The camera goes ballistic in some of these scenes for no reason, with a shit ending. And you just sit there going, oh, okay, well, that was dumb. And then you just go and watch something else. And that's exactly what I did. This thing was like an 8 or a 9 in the first half. And that is really saying something. And it just threw it away. It was astonishing how it did that. We're in the 7s now. First up is Together. Ladies out there, you should watch this just to learn what not to do for your boyfriend. The shit she pulls during the party scene in the intro of this is the biggest party fail of any movie ever. Don't do that. The first half is just, it's not great. It's not bad. You don't want to stop watching. You're intrigued by the concept. I love the intro. I didn't care much about the drama. I didn't like either of these two characters. But in the second half, the film goes, oh right, we're a body horror film, and starts to really lean into that, and I think the film dramatically improves. Both the makeup and the CGI with the body horror, I think, is executed well. The ending actually freaked me out. A lot of people were talking about how comical it was, and I guess I could see that, but for me, I found it almost upsetting. As it stands, it's a fresh and fun idea, and I think that's enough for a 7. Next is The Monkey. This is just such a fun film. I love the presentation of it. I think it's well shot, the choices of music, the editing. It all comes together in a way that feels so, I don't know, like alive. This thing is just bursting with energy, but it doesn't feel sloppy. It's not like there's just random cuts for no reason or random zooms for no reason or 28 years later for no reason. It does whatever the fuck it wants, but doesn't do it in a sloppy or amateur way. I think the main character was engaging enough to follow, but I was personally a little frustrated with how small his testicles were. Like, I mean, this guy literally no balls. I think Osgood Perkins is the reason this worked. You're laughing, you're cheering, but it doesn't feel like a guilty pleasure. All right, next up is Sinners. I feel slightly like an outcast here. I like this film. I think the music sections are extremely well done. There are two sequences, and you guys probably already know what they are, that I think are outstanding. Merging music genres to make a thematic point, that was very fascinating to me. That being said, I do think this movie is a little bit overrated. You know, the acting is strong, it's well made, production design solid, but people are treating this like some kind of masterpiece, and it's just not. I think the first half is paced way too slowly. There's some bad CGI in the film, especially the fire. I like the introduction of horror elements. The first time we see a vampire is this great shot. All the action scenes inside the actual barn or whatever that is aren't very good. I was expecting better. It's not well shot. There's nothing about it that feels properly brutal or tactile or even interesting to watch. And then at the end, there's this big shootout for reasons. I'm sure there's reasons for why that was there. Maybe it was just kind of wish fulfillment. I'm certainly not going to complain about a bunch of KKK guys getting shot. Like I said, I do like the film. Its originality deserves to be seen, but there's some flaws there that I think a lot of people are ignoring. Next is Companion. Is this a horror film? Meh, but I just want to talk about it real quick because I think this is kind of great, mostly because of the lead performance by Sophia Thatcher and the script, which I think plays a lot with modern relationships, modern technology, intelligence as a concept, insecurity. It was an honest joy watching these characters kind of shift in a certain situation, and seeing this character arc of the protagonist was probably one of the more satisfying things. Fun, unpredictable, and had a very strong lead performance. In a year of pretty mediocre scripts, I will always champion the good ones.
You need to get back home, grab some clothes, money, clean yourself up. How do you do that? You could work your way back to the main road, hitch a ride.
What the fuck?
Presence, 8 out of 10. This is directed by one of my favorite directors, Steven Soderbergh. Basic conceit is that the entire film is from the point of view of an entity that's haunting this house. They gave so much personality to the camera work. You felt like you really were watching the point of view of something with emotions, something that could get upset, something that could get sad. There's so much guilt and longing and frustration, and you get all of it just from the camera work. Love the acting. Benny from Stranger Things, he was great. He was probably the standout in this film. If I did have an issue with the film, and a lot of people have brought this up, and their complaints are fair, some of the Gen Z dialogue is not great. It was nice seeing Lucy Liu again, and she did a good job playing this kind of bitchy, I used to be a bully in high school kind of character. One of those movies that disturbed me, but after it was over, the more I thought about it, the more unsettled I got. All right, runner-up is Bring Her Back. A lot of people are tired of horror movies about tragedy, about drama, about grief. It's the horror of grief. No. This is fucking horror. Like, this is such a bloody, angry, violent film. The makeup effects are gruesome and wonderful. All the acting is fantastic. The intro is a nightmare. I found this very disturbing. Every time they load in a VHS tape, you know you're going to see something fucked up. The combination of tragedy and gore, the powerful performances from the whole cast, I think really do elevate this. I would highly recommend this to any horror hound out there. Watching Paddington is going to be so much different now. Oh, man.
Give me the cat. Give me the cat. Let him go. I got you. Let him go, Ollie.
And
Okay.
And last up, my favorite horror movie of the year so far is Weapons. It scared me. It thrilled me. It made me laugh. It made me want to close my eyes. It's got an ending for the ages. And not only are the performances great and the characters intriguing, the style adjusts for these different characters with how diverse the story can get. I like that the music was more subtle and ominous. I don't know, every time I start to think about the state of movies these days, and I start to think, God, like, are so many directors just kind of coasting? Are we just gonna remake every movie under the sun? And then I see something like Weapons and it just makes me so happy because it's not only an interesting premise that's well executed, but the director is experimenting so much with shot composition, with music, with editing. All of it had a logic to it and all of it was so entertaining. If nothing else, this is just a badass film and I would highly recommend everyone watch this. I don't think this was as strong a year as last year for horror, but this year did bring me Weapons. So that is going to do it. That is my best and worst horror movies of the year so far. Make sure to stay tuned in December for when I'm going to do my horror awards. If you want to support the channel, please check out the Patreon link below. Definitely comment with your favorite and least favorite horror movies this year. You guys are great, and as always, thanks for watching.